Hola, ¿cómo estás? What the fuck is wrong with this goddamn thing? Properties. It's the blue snowball. Maybe I need to move it closer. Is that better?
It sounds like it.
Alright, let's get a little bit of background noise coming in. Alright. Gotta do this right.
Do we have any more?
Oh yes, absolutely. I apologize. You said one, and I was.
Oh, sorry.
Being spooked.
I totally forgot about this cutscene. One more.
All right, we have a one.
Alright, sorry about that. Resident Evil 7 speedrun. Carcinogen. I love the charisma he brings to the table. It's really, really inviting. I love it so much. Hashtag no homo. So where in the fuck? I guess. All right, let's get some mellow jams in the background. All right. Mellow jams. Yeah. I like it. Alright. Live actions. Spin the wheel! I'm not spinning. There's no wheel to spin. So. Yeah, this is entirely my fault. I haven't what the fuck? I haven't been very dedicated lately. I haven't been very dedicated to streaming because I have a fucking life outside of this shit. But how are y'all? You people. Probably gonna get off relatively soon, but big return stream. It's not a big return stream, really. It's just me shooting the shit for a little while. Give you guys a taste. I've been busy. Oh shit. Been busy. Hashtag fired a client today because I am sick of their bullshit. I have. Get Minecraft yet? No, dude. No, did not get Minecraft yet. Been busy. Not the kind of busy that I want to be, though. I've been in a funk lately. It's been weird. Like, I've been irritable, not like angry, but like irritable. Oh, you have clients now? I've had clients, dude. I have client. That's when I go to work. I'm doing work for a client. But yeah, so there's a client that I had, and I just got sick of their shit. Basically, so the way that the platform is set up, and I talked about this before. I'm not giving out my phone number to clients anymore. That's just not fucking happening. If I'm going to be on the platform, I'm going to be on the platform. You want to get a hold of me, click the link. So, because they get my clients, they get my link at the end of the task, so they can get a hold of me. So if they ever want to work with me again, just go in the app. I'm right there. Done work with you. The link's right there. No problem. At the top of the fucking list. But some clients want my phone number. And this is another one of those clients. It's a return client that I've done work for numerous times, which isn't a problem. I don't mind. Not a problem. I don't mind doing work for a client. However, you gotta understand, if you hire me to do something, I'm gonna do it. I've dedicated time in my schedule to go do that. And if you want to cancel last minute or reschedule last minute, I would rather you cancel last minute than reschedule last minute. And this client kept fucking rescheduling last minute. Every time we would come up with something, something would happen and they couldn't do it. Or, here's the number one thing. She would never write me back. Every time she would like when she first hired me for the job, I'm trying to write her. I'm like, hey, I'm kind of busy today. Can we do it these other days? I'm free on these days. Nothing. Not a goddamn word from her. I'm like, all right, fine, whatever. And I was going to cancel it, but then she wrote me. And I'm like, this is like 2-3 days later. And she's like, oh, yeah, I can do it on this day. It's like, well, actually, I'm busy that day now. This is my new updated schedule. It's going to be progressed out even further. She's like, oh, I'm not worried about it. My mom's coming next week. I just need it done, within a week from now or whatever. And I'm like, well, here's my schedule. Just let me know when you want to do it. And she would never respond. It'd be like a day, 2 days, sometimes 3 days before she would respond to me. And we would finally get dedicated on a day. And then she would reschedule like last minute. Like I'd be getting in the truck ready to go to her house. Like, so she's an online personality. Let's just say that. Okay, with several, with millions of YouTube subscribers. Okay, good for her. She's a busy girl, huge, crazy schedule, right? I get it. At the end of the day, it's not my, that she's doing what she gotta do to make a living. That's great. Good for her. I'm doing what I gotta do to make a living for me. And the problem that I'm having is her schedule. When she hires me to do a job at a certain time, the way it works for me is I'm ready to do that job on that date at that fucking time. So you constantly rescheduling, you constantly not messaging me back, I got to keep things somewhat open-ended. I'm like, hey, what's going on? I've got other clients that are, that I'm trying to get hired. There were clients that needed me to do work for them on a certain day that she was already booked for. And then she cancels last minute. So not only did I not do the job with her, I missed out on the other clients that I could have been doing doing work for. And it's like, I even wrote her and I told her, like, look, I'm gonna have to cancel this task. Like, I want to help you, but I haven't heard from you in days. The task is like open, you keep rescheduling, and it's like, it's gonna hurt my metrics to cancel, but I'm losing out on clients, so I'm gonna have to cancel. So I told her, like, hey, if you need it done, here's some other people. My schedule's like super getting really booked, and as soon as I cancel you and my schedule opens up, it's gonna be booked same day. Like after the first week of the month, I get slammed. Like right now, like I am fucking slammed from now to fucking Monday. Like it's go. I'm not gonna have it. Like this past week has been nice, been kind of chill, whatever. This next 7 days is going to be a fucking bitch. Okay, morning to fucking night, go, which is good for me. It's that's the paper, that's the bread, that's the money right there. No problem. And so she hits me up today at 10 a.m. when I'm already at another job today, a job that I was at from 9 a.m. up until fucking, I didn't get home till when, 7:30? Long ass fucking job today. So here's what happened. She hits me up. It's like, oh, can you come by today to put together that bed? My mom's flying in today, so it needs to be done today. And I'm like, I ignored her because I was busy on another task. And she texted my actual number, not the app, the actual number. If she would have tried to hire me, well, you can't hire same day anyway, but like, it just wasn't gonna happen. So here's what happened. So she what was it? She wanted me to come out today to do this bed for her before her mom showed up. And it's like, I can't do it. I've told you, like how many times have I worked for you? Like, I didn't tell her this, but this is what's going on in my head. How many times have I worked for you? And every time she's like, oh, I'm going to need you to come back and do ABC. Or I need this done, or I need that done. I'm like, oh, yeah, no problem. I got you. Just, you know, like, let me know a couple days in advance, because, you know, same day is really hard for me. Or even next day is kind of hard because I get booked like crazy. And she tells me, like at 10 a.m., she's thinking that she can on-demand me to come over. It's like, I have other clients. I have other jobs. I can't stop what I'm doing just to go and take care of you, okay? So the fact that you would even think to ask that is beyond me, all right? So I'm just not going to do any more work for her. Tomorrow, I'm going to get on TaskRabbit, and I'm going to hit up their customer support, and I'm going to be like, hey, this particular client, yeah, can you make it so that they can't see me anymore? I just don't want to do any more work for them. Not talking about Flat Earth. Finger Bang City 666, welcome to the club, bro. It's pretty obvious she was trying to fuck you. Like, trying to fuck me how? Explain that to me. How is that obvious? Like, how is she trying to screw me over? Speaking of fucking me over, I don't really think I'm gonna do last minute reschedules anymore. It didn't happen today, but let me just tell you a little story. It's happened in the past. The earth ain't flat, the people are. Oh damn, shots fired, son. Like, sex you. Like, wait, how? She was trying to fuck me over. Not trying, I don't think she was trying, but that's what she was doing. She was fucking my schedule over by playing fuck games with me. You make decent money on TaskRabbit. That's the word I would use. Decent. I make decent money on TaskRabbit. Would I use the word good money on TaskRabbit? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. I love the jobs where I go and I'm there like practically all fucking day. That's when it's worth it for me. Like today I made $202. I would have made more, but I had another client that canceled on me. Check this shit out. She texted you asking how about with her bed. Let me talk about beds with this fucking client. Audio isn't working. What are you talking about? Hold on. Who says my audio is not working? You guys, my audio is working, clearly. No, wait, where am I? What? What the fuck? Someone just wrote me and then it like disappeared. Whatever. She needed some pipe. It works fine now. Oh, that was weird. She needed some pipe late. LOL. No, so check this shit out. So, TaskRabbit doubles as prostitution. TaskRabbit. Make that real money. No, here's the thing. So I've fucked with her beds. Pun not intended, but I fucked with her beds many times already. She had these beds that she has that are like solid metal fucking frames, like they're heavy as fuck, and the way her apartment is, or her condo on the 34th floor of her fucking building, it's orientated really fucking weird. And I've had to literally take apart both beds, swap the beds in the rooms, put one of them back together and leave one, because the other one she was gonna send to storage originally, but turns out since her mom was coming to visit, she needed it done up. As for the girl, she's not bad looking, definitely not my type. She's not a bad looking girl, not my type though. And one of the key reasons is I remember I go in there one time, she looks fine, whatever, normal. The next time I come and she's like in a rush and everything, but I can tell that she's got like a spray tan or whatever, and it's orange like an Oompa Loompa. Like, I don't know. Like, I guess call me shallow. Like, I'm no spring chicken. I'm not the best looking motherfucker on the planet. Okay, but when people like alter their bodies, especially women, I just never find it really attractive. It's like when people want to say that, oh, Kim Kardashian or the Kardashians are the most beautiful girls in the world. They're not. And I think for me, it's because I don't find, like, if you get work done, that's one thing. You know, you get a tit job, nose job. You know, you get that little turkey neck removed from under your chin. That's fine. Go ahead, do it, whatever, right? But then there's excess. For me, the Kardashians are complete total excess. Like, they've gotten to the point where literally it's like they're caricatures of who they once were. So I'm, you know, like, don't get me wrong, you know, to each their own. But personally, when you do excessive things to your body, you no longer look good. That's just my opinion. And that's coming. What is your type, Mace? What's my type? Ideally, no, I said excessive. Griffin, listen to me. I said excessive altercations of your body. Yeah, but my type. Petite redhead white girl. It's basically my type. So, you know, that's why I'm with fake wife. I mean, her hair's not red anymore, but you know, it don't matter. Like, I don't want fake wife to hear this, but Lindsay Sterling, that's my type. But fake wife is my type, above everyone else in the world. No, I don't think she got it for me, though. Definitely not. Definitely not. Anyway, so another thing with TaskRabbit that irritates me, doing jobs for it, there was a client I had today. We had a schedule at 6:30, and it was for a pretty big job. It was like a hour and a half, 2 hour job, but it was really close to the house. So I'm like, all right, fine, yeah, I could do the job this morning and then go do that one before I go home at night. And this morning he hit me up and like, oh, I need to reschedule. My shit didn't show up like it was supposed to, so we can't do the thing we're supposed to do. So it's good. We're going to reschedule till like the 18th. And I'm like, all right, fuck it, whatever, 18th, whatever, right? Push it out to the 18th. And then as soon as I rescheduled, I was like, wait a minute, I've seen this before. Clients will tell you last fucking minute when they need to cancel. Instead of canceling, because if the client cancels that drastic last minute, they'll get a fucking fee. Right, so they'll get charged a minimum of an hour because, like I said earlier, they've hired us to do a job at a certain time, so we've foregone all the other opportunities to get hired by other clients to do that one job. So to get canceled last minute like that really fucks us over. So that's why the client gets feed. I'm kind of for that. I'm fine with that. I don't think that there should be excessive fees. Don't get me wrong, but you got to draw a fucking line somewhere. So I'm thinking, oh fuck, he's gonna fuck me on this, but he didn't. He didn't cancel, you know, because if I reschedule to a week from now and he cancels, well, there's no fee. But it made me think. So the next time a client wants to reschedule last minute, if it's a returning client, that's someone that I have a rapport with, then that's fine. If it's a brand new client, I have no idea what this guy's about, and be like, yo, sorry, can't do it, can't cancel. I'm just gonna tell him, sorry, can't. It's like I either do the job or I don't do the job. That's what it's going to come down to. I'm not, because if I cancel, that's one thing. That's on me. But so because I don't want my metrics to go down. So if a client hits me up last minute, like, oh, hey, plans changed, I can't do it today. I need to reschedule, or we don't need the service, or what have you. I'm just going to tell them, oh, well, just make sure you cancel it. For a second job, I just do the Uber Eats. It's like $7 an hour after fuel and vehicle maintenance and repair, but the flexible hours. Yeah, dude, fuck delivery. All delivery jobs can go fuck themselves. You don't, no. Fuck off with the Uber Eats, dude. Don't do it. Why are you doing that to yourself? Tell you what. TaskRabbit. Bare minimum, you can make yourselves $20 an hour, no problem. Okay, with all of those things factored in. Here's what I recommend: join TaskRabbit, and just the only thing you want to do is straight furniture assembly. Do straight furniture assembly. Set your rate at $20 an hour. Guarantee you'll get fucking work. Maybe not in the first week. It takes about 2 to 3 weeks once you're on the platform. Once you do one job, it's easier to get a second and a third. Like once you start getting jobs, you just get thrown in with jobs. Some guys don't have any skills to do TaskRabbit. Exactly, which is true, which is why I said furniture assembly. Why? Because furniture assembly is one of the easiest fucking things you can do in the world. Get yourself a fucking hammer, like a fucking $3-4 hammer from fucking Walmart, and a fucking screwdriver. It's pretty much the main things you're going to need. You can do most furniture assembly jobs with a hammer and a screwdriver, okay? Oh, and get yourself a set of Allen keys. Most furniture, when you're assembling it and it uses Allen keys and whatever, it comes with those things. But just get one. Like those 3 tools, you could fucking make bank on TaskRabbit with just furniture assembly. And why do I say furniture assembly? Because we all fucking do it, alright? You have an apartment, like I guarantee you, damn near everyone else in the world, damn near, what's wrong with nose rings, bro? Everyone in the world, in America, you fucked any clients yet? No, I have not. No, this isn't like the 80s porno. It's like, oh, I'm here to check your pipes, ma'am. No, it's not like that. I like delivery. Hauling humans is the crappy job. No TaskRabbit in my area yet. Oh, that blows, dude. Yet. No, I haven't fucked any. No, not yet. And I'm not gonna fuck any clients. Hauling humans is crappy. Dude, yeah. See, like, I don't like the delivery jobs. I don't, like, oh, check this shit out. Let me break down a scenario. Wait, Photo, are you still here? Because I definitely want your opinion in this. Because I'm going to give you guys a situation that just recently happened. And I need to know on your guys' end, am I in a moral good spot? Or am I just a fucking sleazeball for doing what I've done? But Photo, are you still here? Even if Lindsay... That's different. That's a different scenario overall. Very different scenario. Very... the things I would do. Anyway. I think me and Fake Wife have an unsung agreement. If we're ever in a position with a certain celebrity, it's kind of like game on. Like if her and Lewis Hamilton, for some fuck all reason, found themselves in a hotel room, I couldn't be mad. It's fucking Lewis Hamilton. The guy's a gorgeous piece of man. He's a wonderful athlete. He's one of the most humble athletes on the fucking planet. Not to mention, one of the fucking best fucking race car drivers of all fucking time. Okay? Alonso can go suck a dick. Fernando Alonso. And Vettel's not bad. This fucking Max Verstappen. I can't stand that fucking kid. He's so fucking arrogant. Is he a good race driver? Is he a good racer? Yeah. But sounds like you want to fuck him. No, I admire the man. I really do. Fuck, man. Max Verstappen, that kid who's like what? He's 20, he just turned 20. I think he's about to turn 21, some shit like that. He's such an arrogant driver. Like, anyone who likes porn has the moral high ground. Okay, well, I got the moral high ground then. Let me... Oh, where is he? Fuck. Alright, no worries. Alright, so Photo's not in. He ran. He dipped. Which is fine. Alright, so check this out, guys. I want you guys to follow along with me on this. There's like a morality thing. Has to do with TaskRabbit. Still talking about it. So, I do several different categories. One of the ones I don't do very often But when I do it, it's only like a bare minimal thing. Oh, well, all right. So I drug him into it, so here we are. There's two categories that are involved in this scenario. One is called moving/hauling, and the other one is called delivery. Keep this in mind. Now, the delivery category, that's structured as a category to you pick up from one location, you drop off at another. Moving/hauling, that's essentially the same thing for much bigger loads. We're talking like furniture or, you know, moving large boxes from one area to another. Moving. Where was I? Sorry, that we'll talk about F1 in a minute. I had a client that hired me, and he's hiring me for a very large task. We're talking a task that's so large, it's going to be something I do recurringly, every couple weeks. So, all right, I'm going to be doing this for this guy every couple weeks, and it involves picking up a product and delivering it to somewhere else. So he has certain vendors, and he has certain like clubs or not clubs. I have to pick up alcohol from his local vendor. They don't do delivery for some fuck all reason. You're a drug mule. No, but I guess since alcohol is a drug. So I'm picking up alcohol, 10 cases of beer, 10 cases of wine, and delivering it to one of his stores. He has 4 stores, so there's 20 cases that have to go to each store. And he hired me originally under, oh, you're going to be doing this under delivery. And shit, give me 1 second. Hey, what's up, dog?
Hey, man, what's going on?
That job that you have in Henderson, you said there was no electricity there.
Yeah.
Is that the one where you were putting up blinds at?
Yeah.
What's the name of the client?
Francisco. Did he hire you?
So if you already put the blinds up, then he hired me like the other day, and I'm supposed to go do it tomorrow at 4.
What?
Well, here's what happened. He hired me to move boxes from one house to another, which isn't a problem, but then he was like, oh, by the way, do you also hang blinds? Can you do that for me too? And I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. As soon as I'm done doing that, I'll do your blinds. And then that was funny that you called me earlier about that. And I'm like, oh, that's funny. Because I was like, oh, I talked to a guy last night about that. And then when he mentioned, like you mentioned the whole thing about the the extension cable I gave you. And then he's like, oh, by the way, there's no power in my house, so when you go to drop the stuff off, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, no power. Duncan just said he's at some place that does not have any electricity. This is probably, I just thought it was funny, and I was like, this is probably the same dude. So I guess I don't have to do those blinds tomorrow. I just got to drop that shit off then.
Yeah, I guess so. He told me his tenants are moving in tomorrow instead of today, so... But that job took me 7.5 hours.
Yeah, 7.5 hours for me today too. And I got to go back on Wednesday to do more, and then we're gonna meet up on Saturday. So we'll both get there at Saturday at the same time to load it up. So
okay.
It's not gonna be too hard or anything. So.
Tell me again what we're doing, or like packing up the truck and moving it somewhere.
Not moving the truck, no. We're just packing it up. Because they're moving to California, so we're just loading it up. So, yeah, most of the stuff is in boxes, so it's gonna be really nice and neat. So, just like normal, man, furniture in the back, and then the boxes, and then whatever remaining items. So I did take a look at some of the furniture they have. Some of the furniture, just to make things easier, we will disassemble. Not like a crazy amount of disassembly, but just to make things easier in the back. But it's like just screw the leg off kind of thing.
Yeah.
So.
Alright, well, that sounds easy enough. Hopefully the legs aren't as stubborn as the legs on that one couch for that lady.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that was stupid. But, okay, cool. Sounds good. Sounds simple.
Well, hey.
You were over there packing their boxes, right?
Yeah, I was packing their kitchen. 7.5 hours just for the kitchen.
No kidding. Are you serious? It must have been a big big house.
It's in one of those really deep gated communities.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's a big ass house. So.
Wow. Just for the kitchen, that's nuts.
Well, the kitchen's not really that big, but I'm just gonna be real. They had a lot of bullshit. Like, they had a lot of fucking knick-knack bullshit. Like, an infomercial comes on, and it's like, oh, you only paid 37 payments of $19.95. It's like they bought that kind of stuff.
Oh, I got you.
And it was like
That's funny.
completely loaded. So, and I was like, I wasn't doing just throwing dishes in boxes. Like, I was wrapping every single dish like up nice and neat. So their stuff is packed perfectly, like wonderfully.
Nice. Yeah, that's what you do.
Except for the very last box, because the very last box that I packed, I opened up the drawers and it was just like a gaggle of whatever knickknacks, and I was like, just dumped it in.
Did you say gaggle?
Yeah, it was like a gaggle.
It was like a gaggle. That's funny. Never heard somebody say that word. But I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it sounds like it'll be pretty simple.
All right. Well, I'll catch you in a few days, man. Good luck with it all.
All right, dude. Sounds good. Thanks again for recommending me. I'll see you in a few days.
Absolutely. Later.
Later, man.
Sorry. Is that blue thing a phone? What do you mean? This? Yeah, I don't know if you guys could hear that. That was my buddy Duncan. Let me get back to the story. Photo, so sorry. So here's what I did. He hired me for delivery. Now here's the key thing. Delivery category is my least funded one. TaskRabbit does no, they don't do a referral thing, which is really fucking weird. This? No, this is not a phone. Not a phone. They don't do a referral, which would be dope. It would be fucking awesome, but unfortunately they don't. Which, like, why? Dude, serious? I would make so much money just by getting people to join the platform. Anyway. So, let me go back into the scenario. So, delivery, the delivery category, I get $18 an hour for. You gotta remember, for me, my truck gets about, my SUV gets about 14 miles to the gallon. It's a big ass fucking V8, okay? Designed for hauling shit and whatnot. So the delivery jobs, of course, I'm not gonna want to do a delivery job where I'm gonna be doing it, because you gotta remember, I can only fit enough stuff in my truck to get from the vendor to one of the stores, and then, you know, that's all the space I have for it. It's 20 cases of alcohol that I have to fit in the back of this truck. That's gonna be some shit, dude. So, in order to do it properly, you know, it's gonna take me multiple trips. So here's the thing that came down to. In all transparency, I get $27 an hour for the category of moving / hauling. So it's an extra $9 per hour that I would be making. And I was on the phone with him, and we went through the whole thing, the logistics of the whole thing. I'd go here, do this, go to this address, We're on the phone for like an hour doing this whole discussion. I'm like, I'm totally down to do this with you, but I need invoices in hand. The stuff has to already be paid for, so I can go pick it up and drop it off. I need to know the proper addresses and the locations and all this stuff. But, and then the caveat is it has to be in the category moving, hauling. And one of the things that we did is he canceled the delivery task, and then he went into my profile, and in my profile he's like, oh, I see that you do delivery, why don't we just do delivery? And I had to explain to him, delivery, it's kind of like Postmates or DoorDash or Uber Eats or whatever, which that's what it's designed for. Go to somewhere, pick something up, and go and drop it off. What you're asking me to do is a lot more intensive. Most delivery jobs, it's about an hour and a half, tops. You're asking me to do a damn near 8-hour job because it's going to be back and forth. And I guarantee you, anyone else that you hire under delivery to do something of this scale, they're not going to do it. But you're more than welcome to hire another person. I totally understand. Hey, what's up? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Helps him socially. Oh yeah, Boy Scouts are good about that. Oh shit. No, I'm here. I'm just listening. Well, I appreciate you taking him to it, and you are right. Yeah, there is a long road that we gotta. Yeah. Oh, Jesus. Hello? Oh yeah, you just cut out for a second. Sorry. Yeah. Of what? She doesn't like try to see how he's doing or talk about school or anything. Well, that's pretty fucked. It's like there's always more stuff that comes to light, especially with her. It's just I don't know. It's like almost like she has kids as trophies. I don't know how else to describe it, but your kids are individuals. They're human beings. You know, they have their own thoughts, opinions, and all that stuff. And they're not just cute. Like Tristan's cute, but he's more than cute. He's got a personality. He's snippy, fishy, he's intuitive, he's explorative. You know, Michael's cute, but you know, Michael's really smart, and you know, he's really sensitive. He's got kind of an anger issue. He has an attitude as well. You know, like there's so much more well-rounded things, and it's like she should be exploring those well-rounded things. You know, instead of I don't know. It's just irritating. Absolutely. I think so too. You know, I remember with me when I was in the Cub Scouts, a lot of those kids I was with, they didn't like me, I didn't like them. You know, I was like their punching bag of the group. However, when we got down to business, you know, we did our little teamwork thing. You know, just, you know, because you had to, you know. So, that'll be good for him, so. Do you have a meeting tomorrow or no? Okay. I should be off between 6 and 7, so I'll probably... When do you guys eat dinner? Just, I don't want to interrupt anything. Okay, well, once I get out of work and I get home, I'll just throw you a text beforehand, and if everything's kosher, we'll chit-chat. Alright, love and miss you. Bye. Okay, so sorry about that. My mother called. 5 watching now. That's just on the YouTube end, my friend. You should see the records that we have over on Twitch. The records on Twitch go up into the 80s. I think 90s. I got rated. Anyway, I don't know what the fuck I was talking about anymore. And no, I'm not calling that fucking phone number. Alright, I don't do unsolicited shit. Thomas, welcome back, bro. What's up? What's up, dog? Not ignoring any of you guys. When your mother calls, pick up the fucking phone, no matter what you're doing. That's the takeaway for the night. Listen to that. If your mama calls, pick up the fucking phone. Have some goddamn respect. Fuck. What the fuck was I talking about before all that happened? I got bombarded. Bam, bam. Anyway, so yeah, no, trust me, I am. I'm looking at both Twitch and the YouTube. It just, I was in the middle of this. You know, you gotta talk to your madre, man. You gotta talk to your mama. You gotta. If she calls, you fucking answer that shit, dude. So basically the thing is, I ended up getting hired for the job, but he even like looked at my profile and it's like, well, the price is different. And I'm like, tell us, man, what shit you going through, bro? Let's work this shit out. And I was like, dude, seriously, like, delivery is designed for a very simple pick-up drop-off. You're asking me to pick up, you're essentially asking me to have a box truck. I don't have a box truck. Oh shit, dude. Been there, not with my mom, but my dad, you know. That shit's fucking rough. Let's see, when I was 17, well, wait, I was 16. No, wait, yeah, I was 16. He passed away February 10th. My birthday's February 13th. So yeah, I know what it's like to lose a parent. It sucks. You know, and that was it wasn't like a long thing. You know, he had cancer, but, you know, he was in the hospital for a few months before he died. And that was just fucking hell, man. How old was I? I was 16. It was right before I turned 17. It was 3 days before my 17th birthday. Yeah, son. I'm telling you, man. It's a rough fucking age. That's the age, man. That's that tipping point. You know, the young adult shit. When, you know, 16 to I would say 20, young adult era. You know, you're just fucking 18, dude. You're just getting out into the world. That's the time in your life where your parent stops being your parent. I mean, they're always going to be your fucking parent. But that's the age where you transition your relationship with your parents. You go from mom and dad. They're always going to be mom and dad. But then you transition into a friendship of sorts. And I missed out on that with my dad. I could never transition into being friends with my dad. Would I say I'm friends with my mom? Yeah. She's still my mom before anything else. But I have a rapport with my mom to where I can speak with my mom and talk with my mom and share ideas with my mom. Because I've grown to a point and had experiences in the world where I can be able to share those things with her. Whereas when I was a kid, what the fuck am I going to talk about with my parents that they would give two shits about? I can talk about school. I can talk about my aspirations when I get older. This, that, and the other. But ideally, I can't go out and get a beer with my parents. I can't go out and do shit with my parents that I would typically do with a friend. You know, when you're young, a lot of people don't look into that. A lot of people don't have that perception of their parents, that one day this relationship that you bond with them as you grow, it will transcend into something new. Your parent will always be your fucking parent, but the relationship dynamic between the two of you will change. Not so much on their end, but more so on you as you grow into the world, especially with adulthood, and you go out into the world and you're actually living and paying bills and you're getting the adult experience. Your mindset changes. You get to that point, some people, I'm not saying everybody, you know, some people already have that relationship. They're fortunate enough to be that way. But some people don't get it. Some people take their parents for granted, and then time goes on. And then you get to that age, and you just You know, you never knew that you could I wouldn't say like a peer. They're still like a superior to you in many ways. I had a couple, damn son. That's some rough shit, dog. Oh, let me say this. I'm not tearing up, but I feel for you. I do. It just takes a lot for me to actually cry. So don't think that I don't sympathize or even empathize for that matter with you. Definitely do. I just, you know, it's you don't know what to say. You know, those things, they hit really close to home, and it's rough. It fucking is, dude. But it's fucking life. Life is shitty. You know, my dad died from lung cancer. Mace Valor, your dad died from lung cancer, and you smoke and puff and all this shit. Like, why the fuck would you even think of it? It's like, because I'm stupid. You know, you try it. I tried it when I was younger and didn't like it, and then for some reason, I don't know why, but I was compelled to get another one a couple days later, and then it just transitioned. There have been times in my life where I've stopped and the physical want for a cigarette disappeared. When I was in Afghanistan, I went months without cigarettes, and then the first time they were available again, the psychological thing kicked in. They're available, therefore I want one. Really fucked with me, and it's been hard to quit ever since. The nicotine, you know. And I can't even say, oh, I've switched to vaping. Vaping's way better. It's way healthier. Fuck no. Fuck no. If anything, I would say that vaping could be equally as fucking bad as fucking cigarettes. Okay? You're exchanging one fucking toxic garbage you're putting in your body with another. Alright? I can't fucking lie to myself about that shit. That's something about here at fucking Mace Valor likes to tell people. I like to tell you guys, you gotta own your shit. Okay? You could do anything in the world, just fucking own it. There's nothing wrong with it. Just own it. Just be honest. Honesty. It's fine, I'll get through it. Been through a lot. No. No. It's not fine. I'll get through it. No. I've been through a lot. No. I refuse that notion. No, don't, no. I'm not telling you how to feel or anything like that. I'm not telling you how you should take a certain scenario. Let me give you from my perspective, okay? From Mace Valor. The whole, it's fine, I'll get through it thing. I went through that point in my life. That's called the fuck it mentality. And the fuck it mentality is a very wonderful thing. There's been certain events that have happened in my life where I have taken hold of the fuck it mentality, which is the whole mantra of, it's fine, I'll get through it. Which is, you're accepting the situation for what it is, and you're telling yourself that you're going to power through it. Without actually taking hold of the situation and letting it have the effect on you that it should have. For example, when I got divorced, right? The death thing is very, very tragic. I went through my own thing when my dad passed, but I feel a better analogy would probably be this whole marriage thing. When I got divorced, you know, during my divorce proceeding, tell us the fucking attitude does work, but you got to remember, when you have one mentality entering your mind, encompassing your body, certain things happen. So when I went through this, at least for me, not saying for everybody, but I'm saying for me, when I went through, you get some bumps, but it works 100%. So when I went through my divorce, right, I was just, fuck it, fine, divorce, whatever. She cheated, she's pregnant with someone else's kid, who gives a fuck, right? All this crazy shit, I was deployed and all this jazz. I rebounded. I had the fucking attitude. I didn't take the time to, I just have been through so much pain, I'm just used to it. I went through my divorce. Like, a bull in a china shop. Just fuck it. Who gives a shit? Whatever. Bang, bang, bang. I accepted the fact that I was getting divorced, but I didn't let it process. I didn't take my time with it. And there was a moment where I cried. And it wasn't because of the woman that I left, or that, you know, it wasn't that I was like the girl I was married to, that, you know, we were broken up and all this stuff. I was kind of like whatever about it. Like, I was done with her. I didn't cry over the woman. I cried over the event. And this happened probably about a couple weeks before my divorce decree finally came in. I got, hey, the judge signed off on it. Everything's getting like finalized and it's going to be shipped out to you. Because we got married in California, so everything had to be done in California. But I lived in New York at the time, so I'm waiting for my papers to get in. And I was fucking high as shit when I cried, but it brought it out in me. And I was like, holy shit. And like, I really thought about the scenario. You know, 22 years old. I have a son. That whole scenario is its own thing. But, you know, I got married young, and the marriage didn't work. I felt like a failure. I felt like, fuck, man. And you gotta remember, because of my fuck it mentality, I jumped into another relationship shortly after me and my soon-to-be ex-wife, when we agreed to get a divorce, because she already had a relationship, a full-blown fucking relationship, okay? Because she was fucking pregnant and shit. I jumped into another relationship. I had that rebound, and that relationship fizzled, you know, about 6 months before my divorce was final. And I was going through so much, but because I had the whole bull in the china shop, just do what I want to do wherever I want to do it mentality, when I finally had like this moment of clarity to sit down and really address my situation, to really look at things, the emotions that I should have been feeling came up all at once, which isn't a bad thing. It's perfectly fine. But I needed to feel those things sooner. I let it go for so fucking long, not allowing myself to feel those things. Not saying that they weren't already there, but because of my mindset and not giving a fuck, you know. And I'm not saying that the whole that it was a bad thing. I'm glad that I went and did my own thing. It gave me certain experiences, and, you know, I'm part, you know, I am who I am today because of those experiences I went through. But, you know, looking back, it's like, I'm glad that I eventually felt something. You know, it's like, and it is weird too. It's like, it's not something that you can choose. You know, when you enter the fuck it mentality, you don't get to choose that. That's automatic. That's part of your persona. You know, based upon the experiences that we've had in life, you kind of get pushed, you know, one direction or another based upon our own, you know, chemical makeup and how everything's firing in our brains. We kind of go one way or another. It's not like, I'm gonna have a fuck it mentality today, fuck it. Like, no, it naturally takes place in your body, and just go with it, which is fine. But sooner or later, these emotions are gonna surface, and when they do, it's best to just fucking deal with them. You can keep the fuck it mentality. You can use those emotions to kind of fuel it. And a lot of times, the good thing about the fuck it mentality is that you're kind of solely focused on yourself in that scenario. Because everything else in the world's going to shit. It's like you subconsciously know that shit can't get any fucking worse. So you kind of you become rambunctious. You become daring. It's like you become a lot of these things that you want to be yourself to be, but you can't because you're subconsciously held back for one reason or another. You're constantly psyching yourself out. Like my fucking mentality, fuck, dude. Like, I was shitty with girls in high school. Like, I was that kid, like, I had braces in middle school. I had a mullet at one point in my fucking, like, life as a kid. Like, I thought the mullet was a good look. I thought that a mullet was a good look. A mullet with glasses and braces. No fucking wonder I got fucking made fun of. No fucking wonder I got picked on. You know, I gave everyone ammunition. They're still fucking little dickheads, though. I was going somewhere with this. But oh, wow, I'm really, like, totally lost. I just went on a thing. I wish you could understand my life. Or walk a day in my shoes. You know, damn near everyone can say that about someone else. There's a reason why people talk to Mace Valor. There's a reason why people are okay divulging information to Mace Valor. You know why? Because I'm going to give it to you straight, no matter what. And here's my straight take on that sentiment right there. Anyone can say that about anyone. I have clients that are extremely affluent. We're talking these motherfuckers make millions and millions of dollars in a blink of an eye. Stockbrokers, shit like that, doctors, or, you know, social media personalities. A few of them I've worked with. I mean, understand the pain. Follow me with this. I guarantee you that at some point they would look at someone that's homeless and say, "You think you got it bad, man? Walk a day in my shoes." No matter who it is in the world, even as much as I hate to fucking say it, the motherfucking Kardashians, who, like, come on, surface level, they shouldn't have fucking shit to fucking worry about. When you actually pull back the layers and think about it, everyone in the world, to themselves, the world is the biggest weight on their fucking shoulders. So what I'm saying is, yes, everyone's in different scenarios. Everyone's in different situations, okay? But when you take time to actually think about it, no matter what, across the board, everyone can say that about the other person for one reason or another. Everyone, it's not like a bad thing neither. It's kind of like how we're socially designed. It's or evolved, or whatever terminology you want to fucking use. Everyone on the planet thinks the world revolves around them. So, and I'm not saying that as a bad thing. It's just part of the point that I'm trying to make. I think when it comes to eating the pain. So what I'm saying is everyone in the world, they feel this great weight on their shoulders for one reason or another. And yeah, talking to someone close to you. If you have someone, not everyone has someone close to them to talk to about it. Let me clarify, Mace Valor's not judging. Mace Valor's like, real quick, I'm not saying that you're saying that I'm being judgy or whatever, but you brought up something I want to say. Blah, 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 blah. You guys give me very limited information on here, and that's why I like to have people come in on Discord so we can actually have a conversation. I'm telling you, man, what people write, you can only put so much information down. That's why I like having people come in the show. But yeah, so what I'm saying is based on what you guys are telling me, it's like the whole walk a day in my shoes thing. I guarantee you, if you would walk a day in my shoes, you would feel stress fucking free. If I were to walk a day in your shoes, and you're probably going to hate this, if I were to walk 24 hours in your shoes, I would be stress free. And the reason why is that notion of, oh, walk a day in my shoes, fine. That means that we're essentially swapping bodies. What does that change? That doesn't change my perspective on jack shit. That just means that my perception of reality is now from your vantage point. That doesn't change a goddamn thing. The only way is if I could see and feel and experience everything the exact same way that your body is chemically designed to experience those things. And that's just, I mean, we were already, the body swap, it's like a science fiction thing, and then this whole mind magic shit is just way too much for even me to comprehend. I've offered him to jump up on Discord before. I don't think he's much for the convo. Probably has. I've had a lot of people come on and off. Booyah. We up in this bitch.
What's up, Mace?
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
El Gudo.
Yeah, muy bien. Hold on, give me a second. I think I just heard something.
Hello.
False alarm. Sorry. Here I am.
I don't know if Oblivion Caller's the same dude. Somebody just hopped in.
Oh, no shit. Oblivion Caller. Probably. Who knows? Let me just... Yeah, go ahead. Anyone or everybody start with whatever you want to start with, and we'll go from there.
I mean, it's not that edgy. There's edgier names.
Huh? You know, originally when I started this stream, one of the things I wanted to talk about was obviously like probably spend the first half of the stream just bringing people up to speed, what I've been up to, what's been going on. I haven't streamed in a little while, blah blah blah. And then the other thing I wanted to do was talk about things that have been on my mind lately, worldly shit, like this whole Kavanaugh fucking situation.
Oh yeah, the half our country throwing away the whole innocent until proven guilty thing.
That's been thrown
That's always
away for a very long time.
I mean, not as publicly as it has been like just now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, of course, yeah. Like currently, it's gotten to a new degree. And I was actually talking to my mom about this the other day, and she's far more right wing than I am, but she is from like a perspective of she is so happy that he was, you know, everything's good and he's been sworn in and all that. And her standpoint was, had he just on the basis of an allegation, now not even going into the you know, the fact that it's questionable and a lot of the stuff, there's so many inconsistencies, this, that, and the other, just the allegation alone, if just because the allegation, if they did not approve him on the basis that, oh, you were alleged to do this event, therefore we're not going to let you be on a Supreme Court of Justice, just based upon the allegation alone, that sets a precedent for other things to come in society. And when certain precedents are made, a lot of laws are soon to follow based upon, you know, certain major precedents like that. So had that event happen, there would be radical, like, crazy changes down the road. I'm not saying it would happen overnight, but I guarantee you in the next 3 to 5 years, there would be some crazy discourse going on. And it would have to do with just like, I understand the whole notion of believe the woman. And, you know, if you tell me the story, I'll like, hey, fucked up story, bro. Do you have any proof? Why the fuck do I need proof? Like, all right, that's the problem that I have. You know, I can feel for you all day long, but when we're talking about something that is as serious as you're talking about, you need to be able to back it up with some, you know, something to substantiate your claims. Because you're talking about something that you're talking about a criminal activity. You're not just saying that, oh, that person said fuck you to me or whatever. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I kind of believe that. Most people just walk around saying fuck, fuck, fuck. But you're telling me that this person, like, sexually assaulted you. Okay, and I know that you can have the whole argument about proof all day long, but the proof is in the pudding. All right, if the gloves don't fit, you gotta quit. Like, when it comes to criminal activity and the law, our laws are written in such a way to punish the guilty and protect the innocent. That's essentially what it all boils down to. And without the burden of proof, you as the accuser, you then have the burden of proof. And just like you said, the whole innocent until proven guilty is kind of becoming like this new norm, and that's all on the basis of an accusation. Disregarding all the inconsistencies involved with it, just the accusation alone is enough to cripple a man's life. This man is now Supreme Court Justice. This individual, his life is now going to be forever changed because of it. The lives of his children are going to be forever changed just on the basis that he was accused of something. No proof given.
Oh yeah.
It's
And every decision that he makes is going to have the utmost scrutiny now. Like, this guy isn't going to be able to do anything without being called a woman hater or, you know, all of the above.
yeah. Hey, what's up?
Hey, so sorry about that. I just forgot that the name changed, so I had to figure out how to change my name in Discord. So this is my second account that I needed to make for reasons. Just you can ban the other account.
Wait, who is this?
This is True Round. What's up?
All right, yeah, I figured it was you because the voice, but the name totally threw me off.
Yeah, well, I changed the nickname just so it would help you.
Oh, all good. What's up, buddy?
Nah, I'm doing good. I'm actually just like chilling right now. It's so nice because I have some time off.
Oh, good. So I assume that you were listening to what we were saying. What do you have to say about that?
With the Brett Kavanaugh thing?
Yeah, and the presumption of innocent until proven guilty is now not so much becoming a norm, and it's more of an afterthought.
I mean, it was kind of an interesting situation because, like, you know, normally with a court proceeding, when you're talking about, say, when you're trying to prove someone guilty, the police have ample evidence and they have time to discover things. Well, this is where you kind of have to make a decision before you have all of the information. And that's why, in my opinion, they could have delayed it to the point where the FBI could have made a decision. And, you know, when you're talking about a court of law, there's the prosecutor and then there's the defense. And then both the defense and the prosecutor have all of the necessary information so that they can work with it. And then they have the jury, which I guess in this case would have been either the House of Representatives in a whole or just the special committee, or I don't think it's a special committee, but it's just a committee.
No, there's a special committee.
Oh, okay. But in this case, it would be a special committee, would be the jury, and then, so in this case, I would prefer if they would push back the hearing, push back the Ford hearing, push back the confirmation, and what I would rather have them do is let the FBI make a thorough investigation. That way, say, in essence, it kind of mimics the judicial hearing. So, trying to be able to make it fair. Because if it mimics the judicial process, I think more people would be on board and say, hey, you know, this guy was accused of something, and, you know, it was given thorough time to investigate. But now we have this situation where the people don't really trust what's happening in the government. The Republicans don't trust the fact that someone came up 2 weeks before and made these allegations. And then the Democrats don't trust Brett Kavanaugh or Donald Trump. And so you have a lot of distrust in the American government system right now just because of this delay. And I think that it was just bad practice for the fact that they delayed it. And they did not delay it. At least that is my opinion.
So, here's my response to that. First of all, I think in terms of the whole delay thing, that was the point, is that the Democrats obviously wanted to delay it till November because there's a strong chance they could get the, a majority in Senate, and then the Republicans didn't want that to happen because then they keep the majority in Senate on the vote. So, I mean, this whole thing's obviously politically motivated on the timing of it. But
exactly, this makes it very hard.
Here's the issue with this. Brett Kavanaugh had at some point the highest level of clearance that the United States gives. He had access to the nuclear codes. So they've already gone through, the FBI has already done all the necessary checking into this man's life to see if he is worthy of being able to hold the nuclear codes.
I had no idea about that.
Yeah, no, so they have done an investigation into this man's life several times already. So any extra investigations onto this guy is just something they've already done, because to get this highest level of clearance, you have to go talk to like everybody. They look at every single second of this man's life all the way down to middle school, and they're just asking people, and they're going through all of this. Okay?
Yeah.
And he's done this process several times, and none of this has ever been brought up at all. Okay, so we put this man at the highest level. We've put him through so many FBI checks already. They're not going to find anything that they already didn't find, and they gave this man the nuclear codes. So the whole we need another FBI investigation is kind of moot, because we've already done an FBI investigation into this guy.
That is interesting.
So
Yeah.
yeah, you know, it's kind of kicking a dead horse for the sole reason of just extending this nomination out. At this point, that's the only reason for this FBI investigation.
Yeah.
Let me break it down to you like this, real quick. So since we were talking about clearances and whatnot,
He's changed my perspective. Just letting you know that right now.
No, that's fine. But I want to, for the audience, I want to like throw this out there about when it comes to these clearances and stuff. It's a huge thing. So I'll say what I can say about it, and if there's questions, I'll answer whatever I can. When I was in the Army, I ended up getting a secret clearance. The reason why I got a secret clearance as a cook was because of where I was going to be when I was deployed. So being a cook with a driver's license to drive LMTVs and LHSs and stuff like that, we would be doing deliveries around the plateau if necessary. There was two other FOBs on the plateau that we were stationed at in Kunduz. One of them was a weapons testing facility, and then the other one was a special forces FOB. And in order for us to, the people that were going to be making the deliveries there, we had to have a secret clearance just to get onto the bases, which is why, you know, prior to deploying, I had to spend months just getting my my secret clearance checked out and everything. It's a huge process. Like, they got a hold of people that I hadn't talked to since middle school. Like, they go trust me, for Brett Kavanaugh, for his level of clearance that he got, they went even deeper. Like, they basically fully vet your entire existence. All right, they get into your fucking MySpace and get messages and see who you're talking to and this, that, and the other, and it's a fucking crazy thing to get any level of clearance, whether it's with the military or something with DOD or even like some sort of civilian government military. It's a crazy ordeal to go through.
Well, damn, man. Like, even if you're just doing like something as little as that, but like it's. I mean, you're allowed to talk about that, right?
That, yeah, I can. I'm not allowed to say what I saw on the FOBs I went to, but every time we went to go deliver stuff, they said that we had to look at the fucking ground. Like, oh, just follow the footprints and drop this shit off there, and then follow the footprints back to the truck. So,
look at the ground.
No, yeah, this stuff's serious. My dad just got I mean, I don't know the specifics of it, but he got a basic security clearance so that he could work on just the cell towers around the areas that he needed to be to, you know.
Yeah. And everything else.
They went into his life ridiculously. Like, it's just like, it was just a basic clearance, and they were calling up people from his high school, his middle school people in his neighborhood that he never even talked to. Like, they don't fuck around with the security clearance. So, you know, the fact that this didn't come up before in the several the checks that he's done, then, you know, it's kind of fishy to me at this point. And the fact that the Democrats wanted to take everything so slowly and make sure that everything was so checked out when this is all happening just goes to show that they really only had one motivation here, and that was stalling.
What was that one guy who had like a bunch of signatures from people from his high school or something? You know what I'm talking about? Was that a forged document? Mace, you know what I'm talking about?
No idea.
No idea.
There was this one guy. I don't know if it was fake or not. Let me do research, but Brett.
No, and you know what? Another while he's looking for that, another thing that pissed me off is they had the letter that Dr. Ford sent to the Democratic Party for 20 days before they even said anything. So, like, if they were really caring about Ford at all, they would have immediately brought it to the police, the FBI, or whatever. They would have held on to that stuff. And then just kind of waited to put it out.
The issue I have when it comes to America with this particular debacle is that a lot of people are looking at this as a trial when it's not. All it is, hey, something came to light. We need to do our own internal investigation because we're voting to have this man be in one of the highest ranking positions in the United States government. Okay, yeah. To think of it, the Supreme Court justice, they're damn near equal to the president, just with different responsibilities. Okay, this is a huge office to uphold. So obviously they want to make sure that the Senate is, and then the Congress, that Congress wants to do what they have to do on their end to make sure they're bringing in the right person. And when this stuff comes to light, you really can't brush it under the rug, especially when it gets the media attention that it has. So they're kind of forced into doing this sort of tribunal, as it were, to kind of assemble the people and kind of do a witch hunt of sorts. And the problem that I've had with it is that is when you really break everything down. It's not a court system. It's not a trial or anything. It's essentially an extended interview and conversation that the Senate's doing on their end to kind of like, well, what the fuck happened, right? And I think Ted Cruz probably put it best. I mean, the number one thing is that regardless of anything, both people involved, both Ford and Kavanaugh, both of their names, both of their existences as citizens in this fair country have been drugged through the fucking mud. I mean, like, for example, I fucking laugh about it because I have a dark sense of humor and shit. There's a meme going around of high school yearbook photos of the two of them at the age that they were back then. Brett Kavanaugh, good-looking, upstanding dude, right? Ford, holy fucking shit. What the hell? Trust me, based upon those pictures, he would not be touching that woman. And I get it. It's a tongue-in-cheek, very dark humor, very, very... when you really break it down, it's rather fucking cruel that, you know, this woman who had this event happen to her.
Supposedly.
Supposedly.
But well, regardless of if the Kavanaugh thing happened, there's no way to prove it at this point. Nobody will know except for those two. But like,
and maybe God.
She was used as a pawn.
Oh, definitely.
And I feel sorry for that woman. Like, you know. I mean, she did put in that letter. She obviously thought that Brett Kavanaugh wasn't supposed to be, like, he shouldn't be the guy. But regardless, the Democratic Party, specifically Dianne Feinstein, she kind of dropped the ball in the whole thing, you know?
It's one of those things where it's like, I actually think it would have been better for the Republican Party to basically deny Brett Kavanaugh and just choose someone else. It would have been better for the party.
It would have been better for the party, but it would have been worse for our future. Because if you look at it from social,
just before this happened, because there was stuff about Brett Kavanaugh who I think if you remember, he was like pro making the executive branch stronger. And I don't think anybody at this point is like, I mean, there are some people that want to make, like, I guess the executive branch stronger, but it's kind of rooted into our foundation that we don't want a king.
All right. Ignoring the fact that whether or not he'd be a good justice or not, putting that aside, let's focus on this one key element. A man is being voted in by Congress to uphold a very substantial position in the United States government.
Yeah, no.
Someone-
I just think this could have been avoided.
Someone comes across and says, that man sexually assaulted me. What proof do you have? 0. Let's fucking do this. And then media gets attention, stuff starts to boil, and then at the first sign of trouble, you know what? We're just not going to take him anymore. What signal does that give to the world? All you have to do is accuse someone of anything, and then their opportunities, their livelihoods, their careers, done. And that is exactly, what the far left, not just the left, because the left I think is fine on its own, but the far radical left, the like these Antifa members, the crazy feminazis of the world, these people that are so far gone from reality, this is what they want. Just based upon their words alone, to cripple an entire individual's livelihood. That's what would happen from that.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm glad that he stood his ground. Now, me personally, I don't think that Kavanaugh would probably be the best guy in the world. But then again, I don't have all the information. I didn't really look into the guy until everything came to light like this, But hey, the president said, "Hey, fuck it, I want this guy." I'm like, all right, well, let's see where this goes. But it's just the whole thing's a fucking train wreck. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ, dude.
I think we can all agree that this was kind of a shit show. I think across party lines, like, this is kind of shit.
I think the whole thing is absolutely wild.
Yeah, like, something was broken from the beginning. Whether it be the way that... I mean, the government's never going to be perfect, but Jesus Christ, like, the way that people vote to... And I think this comes down to the fact that there aren't any term limits for congressmen. This does boil down to that. I actually think that does, because if people were more concerned about doing good than keeping control, then we would have a better government. I think that we should have term limits for congressmen. I think that we can agree that through party lines, and it's not going to be something they're not going to volunteer to do that. I know one person who in another state who is vying for that. One congressman. That's horseshit. I'm sorry.
Well, I'd second the motion. I think that Congress should have term limits as well. Because you get these fucking career politicians and they don't do fucking jack shit. It's like, well, my constituents are going to want me back in anyway, so fuck it.
No, yeah, for sure.
And then the spoils systems. Do you know what basically the spoils system is? It's like, it's not a new concept at all. But basically, like, you give political power to your friend. You give political power that supported you.
Yeah, that's what Ulysses S. Grant. That's what that fucker did. He hired all of his drinking buddies as his cabinet members, and not a goddamn thing got done for 4 years.
Or just like, or giving people that only agree with you. Oh, yay! Let's talk about conspiracy theories.
I was just gonna ask, what do you guys think about the whole argument against the Electoral College?
Gone.
It's garbage.
Shit.
I mean, hell, the guy I wanted to win won, but I still think the Electoral College is fucking broken.
Yeah, no. Please, no more.
Why do y'all think it's garbage? You think the one person, one vote thing is actually gonna keep this country together?
I just think it's fair. Like, I don't think it has anything to do with whether it's good or bad. I think it's just more fair.
All right, so the idea of the Electoral College, I'm behind the idea of it, because let's face it, true democracy, one vote, all that jazz.
It's terrible.
It would create fucking pure anarchy. So the idea...
So here, let me lay it down for you. So the people in the countryside, they're going to want to vote. Your people in Kansas, your people in Oklahoma. The way the country stands, most of our population is, I think it's Texas, California,
New York,
New York, and Florida.
and some other major cities like say St. Louis, Atlanta, Nevada.
Well, I'm just talking about like.
Just-
So basically, it's very obvious that we are becoming an increasingly urbanized society.
of course.
Most of our population is naturally going to be in the cities. The
Yeah.
problem is these cities do not get supported without the countryside. They need food. You need the farmers. You need all this.
Yeah.
So, our ancestors, the forefathers, they recognize this in a way. They didn't want Virginia having the entire vote because that's the way it would have been. Virginia and I forget what other colony. They just had so much population they would have decided everything.
Well,
So they said, let's give these little guys a vote so they actually come into the union. So the issue with this is if you decide to reverse that decision and make it one person, one vote, now you got these places where there's not a lot of population, but that are very vital, and they don't have a say. Now, if you don't have a say in a governmental system, what's keeping you in that government? No, you're going to want to go somewhere else. You're going to want to create your own thing.
Yeah, I think that's
So-
where state government comes in. I don't think that the executive branch has such a pivotal part in society such as that. I don't think that the executive branch should have the power to influence a small community like that. I think that is why, again, if in the sense that if the executive branch, if there were to be no electoral college in response, I would also diminish the power of the executive branch and give more power to the states.
Well,
Because both of those combined would make a more fair system. If we both got rid of the electoral college, decreased the power of the executive branch, and gave more power to the states, then I think that we would have what you said. We would have power to these small communities that aren't.
Yeah, but we had that argument back in the 1860s, and that caused a lot of people to die. So,
Wait, what are you referring to? I don't.
this is the exact argument that this country has been having for much of our history. Is kind of the whole states' rights versus are we going to have a federal society? It's federalism.
No,
and
that was. Don't get me. That was about slavery. It
No.
was about state rights.
If you
but
think it was just about slavery,
it was a lot about slavery.
no.
It was.
It was entirely about the states making their own decisions. Slavery was just one of the things. You see, because that was going on way before the slavery argument was even a thing. The 1840s, slavery wasn't in danger, but you kind of had the federal government invading on what people considered the states are supposed to make these decisions, not the nation.
I mean, I will give you that. Yeah, Whiskey Rebellion. I will give you that. People were not liking the fact that the federal government was taxing them. People did not like the federal government making decisions for their communities. Like these farmers, these distillers, they were not happy with the fact that they were being taxed for something that they used to not be taxed for. George Washington put that rebellion down. I will give you that. This discussion has been going on for a long time. Although I do think that we are past that, and the fact that we will be open to giving more powers to states, even if I think that's just something that we can all agree on that would be a little bit better. Well, not all we can agree on, but I just think that in moderation, that if we give more power to states, then it should be okay. Because it's actually going almost in the reverse of what happened during the Civil War. Instead of
I think you guys are trying to put Mace to sleep.
I'm just waiting to chime in. That's all.
No, it would actually be going in reverse. You see, when you were talking about relating to what I'm proposing in the Civil War, even if you do use the argument that says that even if you do use the argument that said that Civil War was based on, say, states' rights versus federal rights, it's in a different direction this time in what I'm proposing. It's in a different direction, and I don't think that would cause a war. I think that would just be a part of society after these changes to the Constitution.
So
Alright,
I think it. Oh yeah, go Mace.
Yeah, Mace.
Real quick, basically where I was coming from kind of somewhere in the middle. I don't think that the Electoral College is inherently the worst thing in the world. Like I said, I think it's garbage to the extent of when you mentioned that a lot of rural America, that there's a lot of, I want to say there's a lot of power in rural America. There's this book I'm writing called Shelter. And in the apocalypse, what benefits the most in the world? Well, it's rural America, where a lot of our crops and stuff come from.
Hats.
Yes. Anyway, so rural America, where a lot of our crops are grown and stuff, that essentially becomes like the safe haven of society, because in this apocalyptic setting, it's all about food and stuff, right? So there's a lot of power that's held with these farmers and stuff. People that, live in communities where there's not a huge population, but they contribute a lot to the country as a whole. And that's one of the problems I have with the Electoral College, is it's not so much the fact that we're kind of divvying things up so everyone has a voice. We're telling people that everyone has a voice, but realistically, certain parts of the nation have a higher voice than others just because of their population. And which, like I said, that's just the nature of the beast when you grow as a country and all this stuff, population density, all that shit. So I'm not saying to completely eradicate the Electoral College, because essentially what it boils down to, of what it's trying to do, it's doing the best that it can with the system that is currently in place. I don't have the solution to make it any better, but that's just where I'm at. I'm not just saying to a rat. And as far as making states more powerful, then what if we made the federal government weaker than it currently is, give more power to the states, then what's the purpose of having a federal government in the first place?
No, yeah, exactly. Like I said, we've already had this argument.
Mace,
as a country, we need to keep a federal system.
Mace, I have an interesting proposition. Fuck, I just broke my glasses. So this is like completely out of the realm of possibility, but I want to talk theoretically for a second.
Theoretical, gotcha.
All right. So what if we broke the executive branch into 2 different departments, and one president would be elected by, just like the Missouri Compromise, actually. So one president would be elected through population, and one president would be elected through the Electoral College.
And
it's so ridiculous.
What would each separate entity govern over? What would, like?
I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud.
Okay.
I don't think this is a good idea, but I just want Mace to respond.
All right. So two presidents. Okay. So too many cooks in the kitchen, I would say.
Yeah.
So let's take the electoral branch and split it in 2. No. Executive, whatever, words. No, God, no. This nation gets divided over one president. Could you imagine a Democrat and a Republican both being president at the same time? Not a goddamn thing would get done.
If
this bill is vetoed. I veto your veto. Well, shove your veto up your ass. Well, I'm going to eat your ass with my veto. Like, it's just going to go all over the fucking place, dude.
They won't have the same powers, obviously. I think one would be more like... Actually, no, this is what caused the Civil War immediately. Never mind.
Yeah, I was just going to say, because...
Robert E. Lee.
And if you look at that system anyways, what happens when inevitably, because right now it's like a 50-50 shot between the cities voting a president and the rural areas voting a president. What happens when you vote 2 Democrats in? You're just giving them absolute power there, right?
I mean, that's just the same thing that happens when the legislature has both.
This compromise essentially just gives a 75% chance for the Democrats to win and a 25% chance for the Republicans to win.
What?
Here's what we should do. Here's my compromise. I think everyone will be happy with this. We get rid of a president altogether. We elect Themor as king of the nation, which unfortunately my boy Elon Musk would be swiftly put to death. But it's just the price you got to pay for freedom. And then we just do that.
Yo, what's up?
Hang them all on the streets by their toes.
Oh my god.
Demore, if you were president of the United States, what would be your first act as president? What would you do?
He would
Abolish the Federal Reserve.
wait. No, that's literally what Andrew Jackson did. I'm not
Yeah,
even kidding.
sounds good, right?
Yeah,
Good
no.
plan.
He put all of the money from the national bank into these smaller banks called pet banks. I'm learning about this now. Shit was nuts. This is literally what Andrew Jackson did. I'm
Yeah.
glossing over a lot.
It's been done quite a few times, actually. We've been struggling to abolish this bank for quite a while.
Take power from the Rothschilds. That's what I say.
I broke my
Yeah, we can
glass.
hunt them down. Why not? Send a few drone army their way.
Oh, well, we can have Obama do that. He's good with the drones.
That was a low blow.
It's true.
I know.
Yeah,
I will. I
when you
will
look
say,
at-
in his defense, George Bush would have probably done the same thing had we had the technology at that level at that time. So.
Yep. Drone.
But yeah, though, as far as the usefulness of the federal government, I mean, it's obviously not useful. Like, you just destroy that whole thing too. I mean, there's no reason for it to exist the way it exists.
Wait, are you an anarchist?
What's an anarchist? Someone that doesn't. It's not. That's another philosophical control system, right?
Yeah, it's someone who doesn't believe in government, like any government.
Why should you believe in government?
No, but like you.
Do you need to be governed?
You don't think that there should be any. You're an anarchist,
He sounds like Ron Swanson.
dude. You're actually an anarchist. Dude,
I'm gonna answer every one of their questions with a question.
Seymour, you should look up anarchy because I think it actually like fits with your ideology.
Well, anarchy is interesting as far as what people's perception of it and what it really is. And
That's true.
I think it's like chaos and there is no order, no laws, that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's a broad term that doesn't imply good things for the most part. But yeah, what do you need these things for?
You're an anarchist. That's crazy.
I'm a realist.
You're an anarchist. I love this. This is going to be a great conversation when the fact that anarchy and anarchism it breeds the worst two types of governments, right? Like, okay, anarchy is the second, or no, anarchy is the third worst system of government.
It's not a system of government, though.
It really is. It's kind of weird.
Okay,
How
it
so?
technically
Isn't it like the absence of?
No, it's a classification of types of government, which is weird. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still dealing with a system.
Yeah. Because the lack of a system is a system. Because there are systems in place to keep out systems.
Well, I just think it would be better if we were just a socialist nation and all held hands.
And the dictator at the top.
Oh, absolutely. Someone German.
If we could afford it, should have, like, I don't know. If we could actually afford, like, the Affordable Care Act, I'd be for it. But we can't.
Oh, no, fuck the Affordable Care Act.
If we could afford it.
The people.
All these, if we can afford, you don't understand the whole printing money thing, do you? You don't get how that works. But what I'm talking about when you abolish the Federal Reserve.
Money's imaginary.
No.
Dude, you're not supposed to print excessive amounts of money. You know what happens when that happens.
It's happening right now.
God, no, but
The problem with the Affordable Care Act is it was funded by people that were healthy and did not need the Affordable Care Act. You know what? Before I finally got set up with the VA for my medical, They charged me $5,000 for not having medical insurance. What the fuck? And it's because, oh, you don't have medical insurance. You have to have medical insurance since this thing has been in place. Here's your fine. And they're like, what? Either way, I'm fucked. I can't afford the fucking healthcare to begin with, so I don't have healthcare. But now you're going to fine me because I don't have healthcare. And the reason for that fine is because the people that...
No, if we could afford it without having to fine people for that bullshit...
Here's the question. Where would we get the money from? Because the fine is...
This is theoretical. This is not like...
Well, theoretically, we can afford anything.
No, shut up.
Just have to print the money out.
No, stop.
That causes too many problems.
Come on. I mean, this is out of the realm of logical conversation at this point. Where the fact that we are going double theoretical. Like, I'm talking about a theoretical situation, and then you are talking about a theoretical situation. It's just getting down.
I mean, so...
Timor, talk about radiation.
There's no such
thing. Radiation is not a real thing. Like, everything has radiation, and it doesn't hurt anyone. There's no proof anyone's ever been hurt by radiation.
Yeah, somebody got his fucking brains blown out by a radiation thing. Hold on, let me pull it up.
Oh my god.
They declassified this shit. MK Ultra. They're feeding radiation to children in foster homes.
Last time we spoke,
the guy that built the nuclear, supposed nuclear power stations was going around the country eating radiation. I mean, show me a proven case of someone dying from radiation.
Seymour, earlier you said radiation is not a thing. Now you're saying that radiation does not hurt people, which is...
No, what he's saying is the language of it. Is that what we know of radiation to be is not a thing. The harmfulness and it's a language thing, that's all.
There's 3 types of radiation: alpha radiation, gamma radiation, alpha, beta, gamma.
Okay, which one kills you? And show me someone that's died from
it. Here, let's go to...
Well, he didn't get killed. Half his face got paralyzed. He's still alive.
No,
we have documented evidence of gamma radiation actually being beneficial for human evolution.
Also, I don't know if Themor would take this as law, but the people that went down to the bottom of by the elephant's foot in Chernobyl, they died after 3 days.
There's no proof of that.
Or something like to counter that.
Hey,
but this is the only concrete example. This guy put his head inside a particle accelerator.
Hey, Seymour.
It paralyzed half his face.
Seymour, have you ever had an X-ray?
Well, no, he's not arguing that radiation doesn't exist. He's just saying it doesn't hurt you. Everything has radiation.
No, radiologists back in the day, you know what I'm talking about, right, Mace? Yeah, these people would get like horrible cancers because they were radiologists. Sure, the X-rays themselves, if you stood in front of it for 5 seconds, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But the people that were working as radiologists...
Wait, so you're saying radiation kills cancer or it gives people cancer? Which one is it? Don't they irradiate people now? Like, to kill the cancer?
I don't know how that works. Hold up.
Different wavelengths of... I'm going to fuck it up. I'm just going to call it photons. Not photons, but it's a different wavelength of the particle that's being hit. So.
What? Wait, I thought... Oh, okay, yeah.
True round. I'm on your team. I just like fucking around. So,
gamma radiation's a wave. Alpha radiation and beta radiation are particles, if I'm not mistaken.
So they say. You ever seen one of these particles? Can you collect them?
They're individual atoms. How the fuck are you gonna see that?
Yeah, we can see them.
They're not atoms.
We can see them. I've seen them. So I mean, you can't really like see them, but like you are made aware of their presence through different things.
Like
You guys realize they're still debating whether or not light is a particle or a wave, or both.
yeah, no, they are still debating
I
that.
mean, yeah. There's plenty of things to debate about.
But just because the debate exists does not validate your point. Make it
There's
or
only a
not.
debate because there's no scientific evidence to prove.
There is,
Well,
though.
It's the thing that makes it difficult is the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, is that they can either detect the particle or see its velocity, essentially detect whether or not it's a wave or not. The problem is trying to detect both things at the exact same time.
Yeah.
Which I don't know why that would be hard. I mean, just get two different machines, but tracking essentially the same thing. Track the particle, and then the wave of it, and then bam, there we go. But,
No, but the thing is that if you try to measure something of an infinitely small mass, then if you measure it, it's going to change its velocity because of the way measuring works.
Yeah, true.
So last night there was an invasion from an invisible force, the invisible aircraft, where now there is 10-to-1 invisible elves pointing invisible guns at your head right now. And we're going to sit down with one of these invisible creatures, and he's going to list his demands. You know, the idea being, can you disprove it?
Yeah.
It must be true. I mean,
No, I could disprove it.
How?
All right, what kind of
Sit
invisible?
them down. Let's touch it.
Yeah, that's the question. Like, are these like invisible to where you just like light penetrates straight through them, or are they invisible to the point to where even their physiology, like you can't physically touch them, so you can't see nor touch them?
I mean,
Like,
I try my hardest to see them or whatever. To get the microscope or whatever. So there is something to tell of their existence. Like,
Yeah, no, there are experiments that
you could put gold foil in front of wherever they're walking, and if there's a hole in it, you could obviously see.
There is some really cool shit that God, I forgot about this, but there's some really cool shit because I'm like, I don't claim to know a lot about science, but I love learning about it because it's just fucking cool.
Do you watch Thunderfoot?
No, what is Thunderfoot?
Oh, he's this British dude. He's a physicist. Awesome. Just like when we get off, and you got some time off of school, check out his backlog on YouTube. The guy, he's amazing. He's a scientist through and through, and he talks about some social stuff, but mainly it's about science. He does a bunch of experiments and stuff. It's great. Like, I can't even describe enough to give it justice. Thunderfoot on YouTube. The guy is fucking amazing if you're into science.
Yeah.
And he has it out for Elon Musk for whatever reason. Like, he goes into the mathematics of why the Hyperloop is garbage. Which, as much as I love Elon Musk, I mean, hey, when you bring down the science, it's got some points to it. The other thing is solar roadways. He's made countless videos on solar roadways and all those stupid scam Kickstarters about, oh, we pull water from the air. Well, do you know how much energy it would take to fucking take water that's, the humidity level from the air and then make it drinkable water? The energy level is fucking crazy to do it. And I don't know, it's just great. It's just great. You'll love it.
Is it really high, actually?
It's all right. So, there's different Kickstarters that have been proposed, and one of them was this thing called Water Seer. And essentially, you take this well, and you have a little wind turbine at the top of it. Well, the wind turbine sucks air down into the well, and the idea is that down at the bottom of the well, where this reservoir is, the ground is cooler down there than the air at the top. Therefore, that the air coming down the water in the air will be cooled down by the temperature difference, and it will condensate on the sides of the well. And in theory, this would work really well. But conservation of energy, when the heat dissipates from the water in the air, it has to go somewhere. So it would go into the ground that surrounds it. At which point what would happen is that you would have an equilibrium. So then the air that's coming down would no longer condensate until the water is removed and the heat dissipates. He breaks it down like that, basically. Like, he breaks down like the absolute science of conservation of energy and different laws of physics and how it would apply to trying to take water from the air. And another thing, he always has updates like, oh, I have an update on the fucking Kickstarter that I was talking about a year ago. Yeah, they went bankrupt. They basically took all your fucking money and they have nothing to show for it. Because this is based upon a flawed science.
Yeah.
When you say that, it reminds me of fake nukes, the nuke hoax, the conservation of energy and that kind of thing.
What? What are you
Well, they say
saying?
it's a chain reaction. You can't continue to break bonds that are equal to the energy that it takes to break them. You can't just keep breaking more and more and more of them. Chain reaction, not a real thing when you're talking about conservation of energy dissipation.
Did you have this idea before you talked to us, or did you just come up with this on the spot right now?
No, he just...
Just commenting on what Mace was saying. Mace said, look at thermodynamics and look at the laws of thermodynamics. When I think about that, I think about nuclear reactions. They're not real.
If I'm not mistaken, there was like, when they teach thermodynamics, they don't go into like detail when it comes to like, basically when they teach the laws of thermodynamics, they don't try to go into nuclear science because it's too complicated. Like
there you go.
I think when they teach it in schools, they just like they try to gloss over it because people would fail tests if they tried to go into it.
Oh, because that enters the realm of physics, which is why they have to gloss over it. Because, like, when we say, "Oh, the laws of physics," I mean, there's so many essentially rules or mathematical equations that have to equate up to a certain point, and when you break it down with things on that small of a scale, it's just fucking mind blowing. That's what I'm gonna trigger Themor here. That's what I love about space so much, is that the physics of the incredibly small are very similar to the physics of the things that are incredibly big.
I heard about that, yeah.
Yeah, it's so
So
fascinating.
yeah, thermodynamics is sort of an applied science, and physics is a theoretical. It shouldn't be, but most of what you're taught in physics is theoretical. There's a lot of stuff that's in there that's actually not theoretical, because physics is actually supposed to be the study of Earth's, your physical world, but it turns into a mathematic garble. But yeah, thermodynamics are applicable.
Wait, it turns into a garble?
Yeah, it's just garble. It's just like
I think you can derive
blah 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 blah.
You can derive it, right? Like you can derive most physics from
not theoretical physics. There's no way to test space. You haven't been there. You can't test it.
All right, real quick. Thinking of all this science stuff, it makes me think of an individual. You guys ever heard of? I think his name is Josh Feinstein. I don't remember his first name, but I know his last name's Feinstein. He's really big on Facebook. He makes all those I guess, somewhat viral videos where he's trying to debunk science and praise Christianity and all that stuff, which is fine. He believes in his faith, and that's all fine and dandy. But I've seen some of his videos, and it's like when he tries to debunk science or this, that, and the other, there's a lot of things that he gets wrong. Now, I'm all for if you believe in your faith and you want to use science to disprove science, I'm perfectly for that. I mean, you're using something that a lot of the world agrees with, and you're using it for your argument. That's perfectly fine and dandy. But the way that he does it is so insulting. I think it's insulting to his followers, and I mean, if we were really to get into it, speaking, when it comes down to it, him praising himself as like this great Christian and all this stuff, if you were to open up the Bible and look at the commandments, you could just look at his Facebook page and just see all the fucking commandments that he breaks and shit. But that's neither here nor there. The dude's fucking tremendously wealthy, which is, good for him. But one of the things that he likes to do is flaunt his wealth to the world, which, he shouldn't be doing, but he does anyway. But, he can do whatever the fuck he wants. The one video that he posted, I This was back when the oh no, Starbucks is removing Christmas thing, which I don't think is that big of a fucking deal. I mean, who gives a shit? All right, you know. But he got so triggered by it that he went in and he's like, oh, so I went into Starbucks, and you know what? I had them make me a coffee, and I told them my name was Merry Christmas. So they wrote on the cup, Merry Christmas. I got you, Starbucks. I tricked you. Merry Christmas. I got you to say Merry Christmas. And I'm like, okay, that's tongue-in-cheek. I get what you're doing. But then this same guy that wants to like talk about his religion and all this stuff, you know how many fucking rules in that one video about his own faith that he just fucking said fuck all to? Which is why, honestly, I think that guy's a big, major piece of fucking shit. Where he's the kind of... There are so many people on Facebook that take the faith of Christianity and just fucking destroy it and make it a mockery. Because... They get views, they get clicks, they become a fucking stream of revenue that they then take that faith, they make a mockery of it so that they can make $1. It's just fucking insulting, and ugh. Anyway, that's...
Yeah, I haven't seen that guy, but yeah, there are a lot of people out there running into him all the time. I think it's pretty easy to mock science in a lot of ways once you get into that, but they make it sound like, you know, there's these authorities, there's these giants that you stand on, that you couldn't possibly challenge Einstein, or, you know, you couldn't possibly challenge.
He was wrong, you know, a few times, definitely a couple times, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's no proof he was right about anything, and he said so himself. You're never going to be able to prove what I'm saying, but that's the way it is. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about, man?
He has a book though. I want to read his book.
You know who I recently...
Equals MC squared is like proof of
fucking me and Fake Wife recently watched, probably about 2 weeks ago. We watched that movie, The Imitation Game. You ever seen it?
No.
The what game?
The Imitation Game. It's with Benedict Cumberbatch. It's about breaking the Enigma code in World War II. Using
yeah, that guy.
Really good. Well, because I knew about the guy and all the shit that he had to go through, but actually, you know, seeing it in the film format was very entertaining. Benedict Cumberbatch did a wonderful job.
Was that about the? It was both about the them breaking the Enigma code and also his personal journey as a homosexual, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. And it was, the thing is too, it's one of those movies that it's obviously trying to push a certain agenda and talk about a certain subject for a certain reason. I get it, but it wasn't too heavy on that. Like I think it did himself as a character, it did it justice, which I felt was very nice. You know, for praising a scientist so many years after his suicide and all that stuff. You know. And not just that, he's essentially the grandfather of computers. You know, his machine that he made was just an analog computer, you know?
Yeah, shit's nuts.
You know, and then he also, like, he wrote so many papers on, like, the Turing test. He's the one that came up with that. Was, a machine, which we refer to now as AI, seeing whether it's human or not. He was the one that coined the idea of the Turing test.
What is the Turing test?
So the Turing test it's a fucking scary fucking reality, because we fucking live in it today. And that is, you ever seen the movie Ex Machina?
No.
If you have Netflix, watch it. Ex Machina, wonderful film about the Turing test. You take a robot, right?
Yeah.
And you make it have a conversation with a human being. And the idea of a Turing test is, can we make machines so advanced and so intelligent that a human being cannot tell the difference if it's a human being or a machine? That's like the bare bones description of what the Turing test is. It's essentially a discussion between myself and a machine. Like, so if I was on a computer talking with a machine, I'm not predisposed. I'm just told you have to, like, this is a machine, this is a human. I'm not told whether it is or isn't. So I have several different conversations with different people, and I have to decide which one's the machine and which one's a human being. And the idea is that one day artificial intelligence will evolve to a point to where it can have an intellectual conversation with human beings. when we really break it down, we are definitely not there. Artificial intelligence as we have it now, even though it can do a lot of crazy stuff,
It's super powerful.
it is but all the things that AI can do today are built upon algorithms that we implant in it. The true scary thing, which is also revolutionary at the same time, is getting artificial intelligence to learn and adapt on its own. And
It already does that.
well, it does that, but not super effectively. It does it very well,
Not
but
quickly
yeah,
enough.
not so. You have different types of artificial intelligence. You have general artificial intelligence, and then there's like another one. I can't remember the official name, but then there's specific artificial intelligence. General artificial intelligence is decent at doing many things. Then there's specialized artificial intelligence that's really, really good at doing one thing. Then there's the third kind of artificial intelligence, which is kind of a blend of the two. It's really, really good at doing many, many things, but the caveat of it is its ability to learn. Is that over time it can do those things even better, even quicker, and eventually get to the point to where it can supersede itself.
Yeah, no, like okay, AI can learn either through algorithms made by humans, like say there are two types of chess engines right now. One is like a brute force chess engine, where it tries to calculate based on material gains, but then there's the second type of like chess algorithm where it learns by playing against itself. This chess algorithm made by Google beat another chess algorithm which had been dominating the field for like a series of 3 years, and Google just went, oh, you know what, I'm gonna make a self-learning AI that can beat the best computers and the best humans over and over and over again as black, which, by the way, in chess you have a huge disadvantage if you're black because you go for second.
Yeah.
The fact that this shit can beat the best computers playing black is insanity. It's nuts. Anyway.
The easiest move that a computer can make is to take no action at all. #WarGames.
What?
Is that what it was called? Demery knew what I'm talking about, right?
War Games? Yeah, that was a good movie. I don't remember that quote, though. It's been so long since I've seen it.
Well, I don't think it was a quote, but that's what happened in the movie. They were playing tic-tac-toe at the end, and then the computer got to a point where, like, oh, I can't win. I'm just not going to make any move at all, and the game was over.
Oh, was that movie where they said that nuclear war had no winner?
Yeah. Thermonuclear war.
No, like there's this one movie about nuclear war where they said that there's no winners.
Not sure. But that is a true statement, though.
Yeah, no, it's like MAD. It's mutually assured destruction.
Oh,
There's
hell
no
yeah. Yeah, there is.
Yeah. There are no winners to nuclear war. Even if you don't believe in the power of or even if you don't believe that like radiation can hurt people, you accept the power of nuclear bombs, right? You accept.
Nope. No, I don't think that's real at all. I don't think atoms are real. I think they're made up.
No, but
Hiroshima and Nagasaki never happened.
But
Well, that was fire bombs, and the bank there stood, and plenty of other things still stood after they bombed it, and people inhabited it directly after, and there's been no evidence that there's ever been anything harmful there since.
No, but you respect the firepower that we as a humanity wield, right? Like,
Well, yeah, I mean, there's real firepower, but not nuclear. I mean, that's theoretical.
but you respect the fact that we can destroy the Earth thousands of times over at this point, right?
Nope, not possible.
Sorry, but if you just don't. The fact that you have these opinions and the fact that you spread these opinions is just—it's concerning to me because it's actually just wrong.
That's okay. You can think whatever you want. I mean, I'm right. You just haven't looked into it. The idea that you know what nuclear science is about has all been put in your head. You know, it's an idea. It's not a reality. You've never seen this for yourself. You've never experienced it. You have nothing but faith on it.
There are patterns in the universe that we have. There are patterns.
When you say there's patterns in the universe, that just straight away tells me you haven't really studied the stars and you don't know what they are. You're believing what you've been told about them.
What? Oh god. You don't own a telescope?
Yeah, I've looked many telescopes, man.
Take a picture.
And do you think, like, when you're talking about these ideas about the universe, 500 years ago they had telescopes as good as we do now?
No, they don't, but sure.
Okay, then try looking for yourself.
Real quick, someone wrote this on YouTube a while ago, and I got so sucked into this. Real quick. All right, so this person, which they're probably not watching anymore, but Aston Hunt. Speaking scientifically, can we transition into biology? Just listen to an intelligent transgender person's live stream. Argue against this point if you disagree with it. A person's biology defines their fundamental gender to the extent that a man who feels like a woman is incapable of even knowing what it truly feels like to be a woman.
What? I need
To each their own.
Well, the question itself sounds all over the place, but I can agree with the last part. A man who feels like a woman is incapable of even knowing what it truly feels like to be a woman. Yes, I think that just because, like you're transgender, I'm a guy, but I identify as a woman, I feel like a woman on the inside. You're never going to truly know what it's like to be a woman because your sex, your gender is inherent to your biology, your genetic makeup.
What if we, in the future, we have the ability to change our biology? That would be dope, actually.
Well, that's some like some high sci-fi shit, and I think that I think that
so cool. Yeah.
I do think that it would be possible. Like, not to say that we could. Let's say 1,000 years from now. That with the current advancements of technology, I think 1,000 years is relatively a conservative number. So let's say 1,000 years from now, we don't all fucking die in a fiery explosion that we did to ourselves, but we are able to scientifically progress to crazy levels. I think, it's possible that we learn enough about the human body and we develop technologies that are capable of altering our fucking DNA. Now, like I said, that's some high sci-fi shit, but we're looking far past what we can even conceptualize as being a reality now. Looking to the far future. So in the far future...
currently changing the genetic makeup of our DNA in order to create proteins, which, that shit would be dope, sorry.
I mean, I don't know how I would, at this current time, I don't think that would be the greatest thing in the world, but, socially we'd be a far different species on a social level at 1,000 years from now. So that could be the norm. It's like, I want to be a woman this weekend. I'm going to, go into this machine. Mace Valor, you care about me. Absolutely I care about you.
Mace, actually,
yes.
Mace would be, this might sound like a surprise, but he actually cares about people in his stream, and he actually cares about people that watch him.
Yeah, I do. That's why I like being
us,
smaller because it gives me more time to be attentive.
Yeah. You don't get into politics much, do you, Theomore?
Oh, of course he does.
Really? I haven't talked about politics with him, I don't think.
Yeah, politics is boring to me because you're talking about, something that you have no control over. Like, it's like, it is what it is, man. And we know they lie to us, so what do we know that they're lying about? It's like, it's arguing whether or not the electoral college is relevant, what's the difference? Nobody really is endorsing the system anymore. More people don't vote than do vote. It's kind of amazing. So all systems have to have belief behind them in order for them to have real power. So I don't subscribe to those belief systems. Talking about Republicans and Democrats, I think is absolutely absurd. No one identifies them, how they think this way. It's just easiest way for people to identify, like, oh yeah, you know, I'm this, I'm that. That makes me this, right? I mean, they're not real things.
No, they're just words. All words are made up. I think automatic voter registration would be a thing. Should be a thing.
Yeah, we can't force people to do that.
Why not?
Because of what our country stands for. I get what you're saying, and
Like,
I think it's a very good notion, but you can't really. What's up?
I mean, at birth, if you are birthed in a publicly funded hospital, I think that should be the tax.
That you force people to
Become
what?
Register to vote. I think that should be just part of the deal. Part of our, what do you call it? It's a term where it's like.
Well, a lot of people these days are starting to try to get off the forced stuff at birth. You know, like you're talking about with this register to vote thing. There's already a system in place called Social Security, and basically the government opens an account in your name and identifies a number to you. And a lot of people have worked really hard to get off that. Like they try to have their kids not have a Social Security number because of the different things that are forced upon their kids, like forced vaccinations, going to school, public schools, being forced to educate your kid, different things like that. You know, you're entering into a contract with the government when your child has a Social Security number, or a child has a Social Security number, in a financial way, in a responsibility way, in a lot of different ways that aren't truly free.
Can you go to Rite Aid without, like, can you go to, like, one of these, like, minute clinics sort of thing and get vaccinated without a Social Security number? I'm not sure if you can.
I think insurance wants it. So insurance is part of that process.
Yeah, everything is hard when you're talking about being off the grid. I mean, I guess you're not in contact with a lot of people if you're off the grid like that.
Well, that's an assumption, though.
Yeah, it is.
Because the people that do have these kids, you know, their kids are well within, you know, society. They, you know, take them soccer and different things like that. You know, they participate in a lot of ways.
I just want, like, people that would choose to be off the grid. I just want them to, like, be able to get vaccinated.
Because vaccines are so good for you, man. That's like candy for a baby, man. It's just good stuff.
You just gotta take a sniff of that shit.
Not you too, Mace.
Oh no, you already know what it is, man. You already know where I'm at.
Yeah, I know.
Where the fuck do I look at my Twitch analytics? This is fucking. Shit's so fucking stupid. Why? This is why I like YouTube over Twitch. There's nothing on Twitch is easy to fucking find.
Seymour.
Yeah, next time you go to the doctor to get vaccinated, just ask them a few simple questions. What's in this? Is that good or bad for me? Have them list it off and say, is that good or is that bad for me? Can it hurt me? What bad things can it do? Okay, what good things can it do? Okay. Just do the math yourself, so to speak. Let him explain to you what's in it and whether or not it's good for you or it's bad for you.
I trust my doctor. I don't know if you trust yours, but
I don't trust anyone. Why would I trust anyone? You don't think doctors have killed people before?
No, I think they have.
I love my doctor. My doctor,
Exactly.
If you look at him, you'll get diabetes. He's extremely overweight. He keeps a pack of smokes rolled up in his sleeve. I mean, the guy's just OG. He's got a flask in his fucking physician's handbook. He just opens it up. It's hollowed out right there, good to go. He's a man's man. Good dude. We go fishing on the weekends.
Nice.
No, but Seymour, like, if a doctor, because you almost have like a you versus them mentality. That's the thing. That's my biggest problem with your beliefs, is that you almost have a you versus them mentality, where you almost see them as bureaucrats and not as humans. not to quote Rick and Morty, but that's almost like the way you're talking. That's almost like that's how you talk.
Yeah, you can say that. I
Yeah.
guess that's one way to look at it.
Exactly.
But
And I
that doesn't necessarily. That's not my mantra. That's not like how I approach things. I mean, I'm not like
it is
fuck
though.
doctors. I think nurses are great. I host them all the time. They're cool people.
But
I get that most people are out there trying to help people. I have friends and family that are doctors. It's like
then
I'm not against them. It's bigger than that. It's not a personal thing.
then is it like is it just a small group of Illuminati type shit that are trying to fuck everybody over?
I talk to doctors about being a doctor and like, do you understand that this is the way it is? And they go, yeah, I mean, pharmaceutical industry, they come in every day and they're pitching, they're selling me something, and do you know like what's in this stuff? No, I mean, they have to, I really, have to take their word for it. Okay, like who makes the decisions on whether or not this stuff, comes into the hospital or not? Well, the financial department gets involved, and these are businesses, and I know how businesses are run. Okay, regardless of the people how good the people that are at the businesses, this is a different animal, and they don't. They're not required to know what's in a vaccine or know what the trial test data is or anything of that nature. They got a license to practice. Okay, practice on you. You know what that means? Like, you want people practicing on you? Do you? I mean, I don't know about that. I mean, I want you to do what you know. I don't want you to practice. Like, what do you know? So the requirements for what they know about is also very controlled. The hospital requires each doctor a different level of keeping up with the times, so to speak. And most general practitioners have no requirement to keep up with the times. The specialists are the ones that are required to keep up with the times, and that's a different thing too.
And they trust the specialist. Yeah, I think that in general, you want the pharmaceutical industry. I'm gonna give you that. Right now in the United States, it's fucked. It's pretty fucked. But pharmaceuticals and vaccines are very different animals. They're quite different animals.
What the fuck are you talking about, man? Who makes the vaccines?
When you're talking about something that is mandated by the government, it's thoroughly, like, it has to be, like, recognized, I believe, by either the CDC or something along those lines, and it has to be
the FDA, the Federal Drug Administration. And if you want to look at their track record, I don't know, man. I don't know.
But it's a much different.
You do hear shit like about cocaine being in coke, and they're not like. I mean,
yeah,
I don't know, man.
That's old. That's old shit. Like, we're in the
You want newer examples?
We're in the modern. So, like, people are living to age like 70, and like even if the farmer like in age 100 at times, like that shit's possible because of modern medicine. And for you to deny modern medicine is baffling because of people that are living to 100. Do you attribute that to just better nutrition, or do you just attribute that to just people knowing how to conduct surgeries now? What is it? Is it?
You have no idea how long people used to live. That's just something that you've been told.
Ad hoc. Anyway.
I mean, that's just like a study. Like, people only used to live to whatever. Like, what? I mean, that's assumptions, and I'm not saying that there haven't been advancements. Of course, there's been advancements. That's not the reality. We're talking about the system and the way the system was created in such a way that it's not favorable for you. It doesn't. It's not working like it should for you.
Ad hoc.
Huh?
So you never throw the baby out with the bathwater, man.
Huh?
Yo.
Huh?
What are you, huh?
Oh, what's about?
Am I not coming in clear?
No, I'm just fucking with you. So, check this shit out. So, I've been doing a lot of writing. I've been wanting to... There's a thing for Shelter I've been wanting to do for a while, but I haven't been comfortable with Chapter 1 yet. Because I talked about this a while ago, but what I want to do is once I'm comfortable with not a finalized version of Chapter 1, but a finalized rough draft of Chapter 1. I wanted to do like a video on YouTube about it, basically have a video or whatever that I'll make, but have me narrating Chapter 1 out so people can get like a feel for it. And as I go in, do tweaks here and there, change things up. Progress has been good, but I keep going back to Chapter 1 because that's like the hook, that's the introduction, right? And I don't want to do too much exposition, but I need enough to kind of pull people in. So one of the things I was working on the other day that had me stuck for a while was this whole day pass thing. And the way that day passes work in Shelter, so you have Chicago, which is divided from the north and the south. The gangs control the south, which is kind of like a free man's land. You want to be free from any type of tyrannical form of government, you go to the south. Whereas in the north, which is controlled by the police, it's martial law, and there's a certain living structure that they have in place based upon what job that you have. Basically dictates what rations you're going to get, whether or not you have electricity or running water. So if you're just like some standard worker that runs supplies around town, you're going to be living in an apartment with no running food, no running water, and it's up on one of the highest floors of whatever apartment building you're going to be living in. And that's pretty bad because there's in a disaster scenario, living in a higher floor of an apartment building when they cut off electricity and water because it takes so much resources to deliver that to you, it's pretty fucked. Anyway, so there's a lot of reasons to live in one place or another. You live down in the gang-controlled South. The leader of the gang, if you're one of his runners, if you work for Shaw, if you work for the gang, then they kind of leave you alone. They're not going to fuck with your stuff, but you got to contribute to the good of the gang, which is contributing to the good of the city. But you're allowed to live down there, no problem. And they're not going to go out of their way and kill you or anything, but you're up for grabs. You're unmarked. They'll take your supplies and shit, because that's what runners do. They go and get what they can, bring it back, and then divvy it up with the group. So the idea of day pass came because it's kind of a hindrance for people from the south to get up to the north.
Sorry.
Oh, all good. So the day pass thing was gonna happen, and I kind of flushed out an idea of why the day passes are a thing to begin with. The way it used to be, because the current time in the story, it's only been 11 months since the big reset, back when money lost all fucking value. It's been 11 months. It's coming up on the year anniversary of it, actually. And so Chicago's kind of barely holding together. And it's like early on enough to where society's not completely destroyed, but it's still far enough to where there have been some radical changes. So what happened is conditions in the north kind of got out of hand, and a lot of the workers in the north were sick and tired of the current standards, and the police that were operating the city in the way that they were doing so because of an equilibrium. Kind of reminds a little bit of inspiration from Snowpiercer, right? It's like for certain people to live in comfort, a large group of people have to live essentially in squalor, but everyone has to contribute one way or another to the betterment of the city as a whole. Well, the workers didn't like that. It's not like they wanted equality, they just wanted running water. They wanted decent rations for them and their families. So some of the workers ended up leaving the city, and then a large portion of them rioted. Well, with things being a state of martial law and whatnot, the police killed all the rioters. That was what they did. And so then the city had a minimal amount of workers after that. So they installed what we call day passes, because before you can go between the north and the south no problem. They would search you and, hey, what are you doing up here? Oh, you're coming up here for work for a couple days. That's fine. And they would get you to come in, and they were trying to get workers. Well, after this whole riot thing happened and a bunch of people left, a large group of people left as workers in the north and went down to the south, and they became members of the gang. And so there was a lot of smuggling that was happening. So to deter the smuggling, but they still needed workers to come up and work, what they did was, sorry, my back. So what they did was institute day passes. So basically, there are certain people in the South that have some semblance of power that aren't part of the gang. And Shaw kind of lets these, there's like an agreement. These guys, they offer services to the city that help better the city, and Shaw doesn't take anything from them because these are men of smart intellect, to where for any kind of sustainable society to form, you kind of need these individuals. So, like for example, there's a baker that he's one of the guys that the police have said, all right, you're allowed to give out day passes for people, and we can bring them up. And here's the thing. This is big. It's apocalyptic setting, all this stuff, society falling, all that stuff. The one of the mysteries that you learn in the story by the end of the story is the airport in Chicago is still running. Now, it's not like travelers are coming, but supplies are coming. Why are supplies coming to the city? I thought this was a fucking apocalypse. But where are these supplies coming from? Like, there's these weird questions, which by the end of the story, one of those mysteries is essentially solved. And I like the way I wrote it. It makes perfect fucking sense for the type of apocalypse that this is. So they need people to like go to the airport, get supplies, divvy them around the city. They need to maintain infrastructure. That's another big thing. The major cities are a big focal point. Now the populations have dropped because people after a while they got wise and they left the big cities, and big cities were dangerous, this, that, and the other. Chicago is important because it's one of the cities that the police were able to at least hold some sense of ground in it because of this deal between the North and South, right? Let the gangs have their land, we'll have ours, and we'll have some kind of fucked up agreement. So it's kind of like they're forming their own new kind of society for what works for them. And the reason why major cities and it's the infrastructure of these major cities. We're talking the buildings, the running water, the electricity. We're talking roads, like maintaining infrastructure. And that's some inspiration I got from the video game, The Division. Now, in The Division, there's this huge catastrophe, virus, all this stuff. Well, there's a group of people, which are known as the Division. They go in, and literally in the game, like if you listen to the lore, the reason why you go on the missions that you go on is because you're helping maintain infrastructure. Because
I like those ideas, man. I was just thinking about who becomes valuable in a situation like that. Scientists,
yes,
engineers, people that can take care of things and make things like happen. Like you need people that work on pipes, right? You need people that work on water systems, or these different things that we're talking about. That who becomes valuable? Who is the North and the South fighting over, so to speak?
Right. So, well, one of the things it's hinted at in chapter 1, but you learn about it in a later chapter. The main character Scott, on one of his runs into the North a few months earlier, one of his things that he did for Shaw was he kidnapped someone, and this was a person that could provide for the infrastructure for the South. The South didn't have electricity because the north end of the city held the power plant, and they cut off the grid, so no electricity from that power plant could go to the South, and he didn't have any experienced workers that could figure anything out. So what Shaw had Scott and Will do is he had them sneak into the North, kidnap someone that knew how to like wire together solar panels and create that, because they had the supplies but they didn't have the knowledge. So they kidnapped this guy, were able to bring him down, and so basically that's kind of what it's like an idea that goes on with that. But there's yeah,
a little bit of everything in there. It sounds like pretty in-depth painting of a picture. That's cool, man.
Well, basically the reason why there's like food and water and shit like that coming in, I said this earlier in the stream, apocalyptic setting, who becomes valuable? Well, farmers, right? One of the main things, even before, people were starving in our country before the numbers hit zero. People weren't making money, people weren't working. Getting a job that would pay you even food was really hard to come by, so a lot of people were dying from starvation. Like, our population went from 300 million down to like 100 million. Like, people were like just dying off. There was riots. Like, the apocalypse started before the big reset, but it was the big reset was the caveat to where it just broke society on a global scale. When there was no monetary value whatsoever, no one was getting anything. And also, the Federal Reserve is also in there. So when money has no value, the dollar bills, the Bitcoin, all that shit, when it has no value, what does have value? So there's a character in the story. I think you might know him. His name's Themor. He's an essential side character. He has this place called Triple T's. It's Themor's Tavern and Trade. So what does he provide the city? Well, he actually provides fish for the north and the south. He has a boat that he owns prior to the collapse, and he was able to retrofit it into a fishing boat. And he has a crew of people, and they go out and they get fish. But he has his own building, which he retrofitted into a tavern and trade, because alcohol brings people in, and people that are in this type of dystopian society have wares to trade. So one of the things that he does, he provides a lot of things for the city. Well, there's no electricity. Well, he was able to gather a shitload of wax and candles. He makes candles. He makes all sorts of weird little things, necessities for life that we just don't even really think of, but he makes these things. And he collects watches. One of the big things he does is collect watches, because he's like, hey, the world's going to shit, which I think is a fucking lie. I'm telling you the government's behind this, but if it is true, I might as well be prepared. So watches to him are very valuable, because eventually, if things are going the way that they are, society's going to get to a point where we need to at least be able to tell time, and watches will be very valuable. Quartz watches will lose their batteries and be worthless, so we need automatic and winding watches and all this. Like, he thinks so far ahead, but he also thinks it's all bullshit, and a lot of things he's right about. And the reason why the Federal Reserve comes into play is because another character in the story, his mother is a senator, and you end up meeting her towards the very end of the book, and she kind of like divulges some of the information that puts all the pieces together. So there are some companies that are still operational, and these are like Boeing, for example, with their airplanes and whatnot. And so there are some companies that own lands of farms, and the United States government still has some control of the military, even though a large portion of the military kind of went off and did its own coup and said, fuck off, and we're not doing this no more. The military is essentially taking care of these soldiers who take over these farms, and then there's these other companies that distribute food to major cities. And the reason why is because the government's hoping to bounce back, but they need to keep infrastructure intact, which is why they're focusing on a lot of the major cities. Even though a lot of them are crumbling, they're trying to keep them afloat until things can get fucking figured out. And the government is paying these companies in gold bricks from the Federal Reserve.
I dig it.
Yeah, and it's basically told to you in the first couple chapters. Like, all the great revelations of the story are literally told to you by this character that everyone thinks is batshit crazy. It's like,
right?
Yeah. So, yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. It's like, I'm going to tell you,
you talked about all the watches, that made me think about them messing with the time, right? Like, if they have the ability to manipulate the sun, the moon, or whatever, the actual time, make everybody think that, time is changing. And he's got all these watches, and he goes, time's not changing, I mean, what are you talking about? No one else has a watch. They all rely on, the government telling them what time it is. So no one, knows that how to keep. There's no more watchmakers kind of thing that keep these serviced, and so no one knows how to tell time anymore.
Oh yeah, so someone in the chat said Themor does a lot of shit, fam. Well, all right. So in the story, so Themor, before everything went to shit, he was very wealthy. But he invested a lot of his assets very wide. So I haven't even come up with why he's in Chicago. I know that prior to everything going to shit, he owned some stuff, like he owned businesses and stuff in Chicago. So when he went there, it was kind of all good to go. But he's not the kind of guy.
He must have been an opportunity.
He is an opportunist, very much so. But yeah, so he kind of has like he's like this weird guy where he is an opportunist because he lives in the South, because he doesn't trust the government up in the North. He doesn't like if I were up there, they would have just taken control of my business and told me how I'm going to do things. Down here might be dangerous, but at least I call the shots for what's mine. And because of his intellect and because of his business practices, when he looks at Shaw, the leader of the gang, he doesn't look at him as a gang leader. He looks at him as a businessman. So, which is why he's able to communicate. He assesses people and communicates with them on that level. So him and Scott, like, he's worked with Scott before, and he knows that Scott works directly with Shaw. So anything that he does with Scott, he likes Scott as a person, but he knows that if he works with Scott, then it's basically directly working with Shaw, and he doesn't like that. So one of the hiccups earlier on in the story is there's a job that Scott gets from Shaw, which is a huge job where he has to go smuggle some shit out from the north, but he needs a day pass to be able to get in. And he's like begging and pleading, and pretty much he's being told no the whole time, because it's like, look, you're a good guy, but you're not going up there. There's a scene when everything goes to shit and they're trying to escape after the whole smuggling job was successful, but then directly after turned to shit, and Scott is like on the run from the gang. He's on the run from the north. He needs to get the fuck out of Chicago right then and there, and the only way he can get out is with Themor, because Themor has a boat, and he begs and pleads for him to, like, look, I don't have time to go into it, we gotta go now. And he's like, I don't fucking believe you. And he's like, you know what, I'll help you if everything's as serious as you say. And he pours a shot of whiskey in a shot glass, pushes it to him on the bar. It's like, you take a shot of that, I know you're fucking serious. And you find out later on, Scott, he refuses alcohol for character development purposes that go into his history. He completely refuses alcohol, does not drink any of it at all. The thought of alcohol passing his lips fucking terrifies him. But in that moment, because it's so drastic and he knows that his fucking life is on the line, he goes to pick up the shot to slam it back, but then Themor grabs his arm and stops it real quick before, it happens, and is like, all right, I believe you. That's all I need. The fact that you would even attempt to do that, I trust you. And then that's when they fucking book it.
Nice, I like that.
You guys will love it. When it's all nice and tidy, I'll throw it out there and we'll watch it as a nice big group.
Well, yeah, I'm glad you're taking time with it, and just, developing characters, like, a big part of understanding, following a storyline, putting them in critical situations where they confront their belief systems and show who they are through their actions. And that's cool. It'll make for a good read.
Here's the fucked up thing, though. Like, I have to picture, like, when I'm writing a character, their mannerisms, how they talk, this, that, and the other. It's like I have to, like, put a picture of them in my head. So, like, for most characters, like, I have, like, it's like a celebrity or an individual I might know. Like, I put someone's face on that body to kind of give them life as I'm writing. And when I started writing out that character, it stuck with me from the beginning, because I have no inspiration for a physicality of what Themor would look like. So the first thing that popped in my mind when I'm writing this character, and it's stuck with me ever since, is fucking Rainn Wilson.
I don't know who that is.
You ever watch The Office?
Okay.
Dwight. But more so the Rainn Wilson side. He's done a lot of different characters and a lot of different roles, so not like fucking batshit crazy Dwight. No one would fucking...
I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, but anyway. So closing remarks. I've ranted enough. It's getting late. I need to go spend some time with the missus before work tomorrow.
Hey, good to see you around. Haven't seen you in a while. Good.
It's been a while.
You're in good spirits and things are trucking along quite. Always nice to chime in, see what's up, say hey.
Oh,
to you and the boys. It's cool that they were in here having a good conversation too, enjoying sharing what they think about. That's awesome, man.
Of course. All right, bud. You guys take it easy. As always, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining the program.
Peace, bro.
And to all the viewers, thank you for my little rambly discussion. But it is getting late. I've been on here an hour and 20 minutes longer than I initially intended. But you know what? Wait a good time. Wait a very good time. As always, this is Mace Valor, signing the fuck